Hawaiian way. I love you too, but the stars tonight, when I hold you tight, seem to say in their Hawaiian way, I love you.
Aloha! Aloha, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Babe, and my Hawaiian name is Uilani, and our group name is Motu Nehenehe Polynesian Dancers. Now, the Tahitian words Motu Nehenehe means beautiful islands. So we're going to take you back on a journey through the islands of Polynesia. And for our first island, we're going to take you to the islands of Tahiti, French Polynesia, specifically the island of Bora Bora. And here in Bora Bora, there's a small picnic island on the lagoon, and it's called Motu Tapu. Motu means island, Tapu means sacred or forbidden. It's not inhabited, but it is a picnic island. But when the storms come, the waters ravage the island, but as nature has it, it returns to its natural beauty. So the dancers are going to talk about Motu Tapu, the storms that ravage the island, and then its beauty as it returns.
Everything
our Tamari'i ends that song. Tamari'i in Tahitian means keiki or children. Now, staying on the islands of Tahiti, we're gonna dance for you another aparima. And an aparima is much like the Hawaiian hula. It tells a story with the hips as well as the hands. This one is called yarana. It's much like saying, hey, hello. So yarana means hello in Tahitian. And the dancers continue to tell you about the beauty of the islands. Maururu, as we say thank you in Tahitian. Now we take you to Aotearoa, the land of the long white cloud, otherwise known as New Zealand. Here, the natives are called the Maori people, and the Maori people don't do the swaying of the hips or the waving of the hands the way the Hawaiians and the Tahitians do. Instead, they do a motion called the wiri. And the wiri is a skimming, shaking of the fingertips like this. And it's much like you've had too much caffeine. And the Maori people also use a few different implements. The first is the tirakau or stick, and then there's also the short play ball and the long double play balls. All were developed to develop and strengthen their upper body and develop their coordination. So our keikis are going to do for you a medley of songs using these implements, and the first is called Ruafaro, the next is called Hoki Hoki, and the last one is called Kapine.
Hoki hoki toru fa, hoki hoki toru mai, te waiu wa o te ta, i te ahi te ina, ki te ne kiri e, ki te ne kiri e. Ere atu ere mai, taku poe ere na, ere lunga ere na, ere poi poi ere poi
Now, that takes a lot of practice to perfect, but to the kids, it's a form of play, and they're actually developing a lot of their coordination skills, their memory skills, and their play ball skills. But they also know how to handle when things don't go right. Now we greet you with the word aloha, and we're going on to the islands of Hawaii. Here we take you back to, I think it was 1938, when a lot of the Hawaiian musicians were traveling the world sharing Hawaiian music. And one of the composers missed his home so much, he composed this song in memory of his loving home at Waikiki. So the dancers will tell you about the beautiful classic song, Waikiki. Waikiki. Now we take you to the island of Kauai, where our keiki are gonna dance for you a song called Hele onto Kauai. And Hele means let's go, come on. So they're telling you Hele onto Kauai, come on to Kauai, as they use the ipu as a dance implement. Now the ipu, if most of you aren't familiar with it, it's just a hollowed out gourd. Way back in the ancient times, the islanders used to use this as a water vessel to fetch fresh water from the streams and carry it back to the villages. And now it's also used as a nice percussive instrument to dance with. Here we are with our keiki doing Hele on to Kauai.
me. Hele atu Hawaii, Hanalei by the bay. Wailua River Valley is where I used to play. The canyons of Waimea, standing all alone. The magic of the garden now is calling me back home. When I was young, not too smart, I left my home looking for a brand new start, to find a place that's better still. Now I know I never will. Hele on to Kauai, Hanalei by the bay. Wailua River Valley, where I used to play. The canyons of Waimea, standing all alone. The magic of the garden now, calling me back home. Hele on to Kauai, Hanalei by the bay. Wailua River Valley is where I used to play. Canyons of Waimea, standing all alone. The magic of the garden now is calling me back home. It's calling me back home.
Mahalo! That was our Keiki doing Hele on to Kauai. Now, we're going to do a song for you that talks about everyday life. In this case, you know the lanais in Hawaii on the homes of all the islanders. There's a lanai, right? A porch. And typically on the porch, there is a rocking chair. So, of course, somebody's going to compose a song called Noho Pai Pai, which means the rocking chair hula. Because on these Noho Pai Pais and on the lanai, they invite you to come and talk story and just enjoy each other's company and enjoy the day. Here we are with Noho Pai Pai, the rocking chair hula.
Pupue iho mau e mehana ina ia mai kapuana Onena o ese ufoli Haina ia mai kapuana Onena o ese ufoli Ufoli Ufoli
That was no Pai Pai, and they sure have fun doing it. Now this next song, it's in English, so you're going to understand what it's talking about. It's called In Your Hawaiian Way.
They say that the moon will shine down upon you when you say in your Hawaiian way, I love you too. But the stars tonight, when I hold you tight, seem to say in their Hawaiian way, I love you too. As the trade wind gently blows your hair, so I can treasure each moment that we share. But tonight belongs to you and I. When you say in your Hawaiian way, I love you too. As the trade wind gently blows your hair, so I can treasure each moment that we share. But tonight belongs to you and I. When you say in your Hawaiian way, I love you too. When you say in your Hawaiian way, I love you too.
That was In Your Hawaiian Way. Now we make a full circle and we're gonna return you to the islands of Tahiti, where we bring out our tamari'i. Again, tamari'i means keiki, means children. They're gonna dance for you an aparima, which is a Tahitian hula called yarana, and yarana means hello. It means aloha. So they're gonna show you how they dance to yarana.
Yeah.
Now they go back on with the otea. This otea is called ayu and it means affection for the children. Here we are with otea ayu. Ayu. Now for our last number, we dance for you the otea again, and this otea is called Otea Ari'imarama. It was composed by our Fa'amu family on the island of Bora Bora, and one of the drummers, he's my Hanai son, my Fa'amu son, and his name is Ari'imarama. And Ari'imarama means Ari'i, king or royalty. Marama is to care for and protect. So, after him, named after him, the otea is called Otea Ari'imarama. Maururu! Our show comes to a close. We'd like to say mahalo to San Diego Ho'olaulea and to Makalani and Jack for putting this all together. It takes a lot of work, and all the staff and crew behind them to support them. So for the Motu Nehenehe Polynesian dancers, we'd like to say aloha, kia ora, tapa saifua, and maururu, and aloha. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks. Aloha.
They say that the moon will shine down upon you when you say in your Hawaiian way,